Tonight, we are going to explore a question, a quiet, lingering thought about the nature of existence. What if time is not a road we travel, but a room we simply exist inside? What if the future is not something waiting to be discovered, but something you can already remember? Tonight, we are not looking at stars or distant galaxies. We are looking inward at the way we experience reality and how somewhere out there, another kind of mind might experience it entirely differently. Imagine a presence, quiet, immense, and perfectly still. Large vessels suspended above the ground, no sound of engines, no sudden movements, no demands. Inside these vessels, in a chamber filled with dense, buoyant fog, waiting in the mist, are beings that do not share our understanding of the universe. They are not like us. They do not look like us. They possess a radial symmetry, bodies with no clear front and no true back. For them, there is no forward direction to walk toward and no backward direction to retreat from. And as it is with their bodies, so it is with their minds. To understand them, we have to ask the central question of our journey tonight. How do you experience life when you do not move through time, but instead exist within all of it at once? For humans, life is a sequence, a chain of events. We are born, we live, we move from one second to the next. We leave the past behind us, like footprints in the snow. We look to the future, like a horizon we can never quite reach. We speak in sequences, one word follows another. We build meaning step by step, because our minds only know how to walk step by step. We experience time like a sliver, a tiny glowing ember, moving slowly along a long, dark fuse. But these beings, the heptapods, do not experience the ember. They experience the entire fuse, burning all at once. Their consciousness is not a point moving forward. It is an epoch-long glow, illuminating their entire lifespan, from the moment of their birth to the moment of their death. Past, present, and future are not separate rooms. They are all just here. Imagine what that would feel like. Imagine looking at your own life, not from the ground, walking along the path, but from high above, like looking at a tapestry. You can see the dark threads of sorrow. You can see the bright threads of joy. You can see where the pattern begins and exactly where it ends. If you could see the whole tapestry, would you still worry about what comes next? Would you feel anxiety if there was no uncertainty? Would you feel dread if the future was as familiar to you as your own childhood memories? For these beings, the future is a memory. They remember what will happen tomorrow, the exact same way you remember what happened yesterday. And because they see the whole picture, they do not feel the sudden shock of surprise. They do not feel the desperate clinging of hope. They do not feel the heavy weight of dread. Instead, they live in a state of flow, a bittersweet, quiet acceptance of the journey they are on. When they communicate, they do not speak in lines. They do not write one word and then the next. Instead, they create a symbol, a single, complex circle. It has no starting point. It has no end. To draw this circle, to express a thought, they must already know exactly how the thought will finish before they even begin to form it. The symbol simply appears, complete, whole, just like their perception of time. This brings us deeper into the quiet mystery of their existence. If everything is already known, if the script of life is already written and visible to you, do you still make choices? For us, choice is born from the unknown. We stand at a crossroads. We look down one path and then the other. We weigh our options, we guess, we hope, we choose. Because we do not know what will happen. But if you already know the outcome, if you already know exactly where both paths lead, and you know which one you are destined to take, is it still a choice? For the heptapods, action is not about deciding what might be best. It is about fulfilling what must be. They do not act to change the world. They act to complete it. Imagine knowing exactly how a conversation will go, knowing every word the other person will say, knowing every word you will reply. You do not try to alter the words. You simply speak them. You play your part. You fulfill the obligation of the moment, because you understand that the moment is already a permanent fixture in the architecture of time. It is not a feeling of being trapped. It is a feeling of rightness, a sense of profound, inevitable purpose. But what happens when a human mind tries to touch this kind of reality? There is an old idea that the language we speak shapes the world we see, that our words form the boundaries of our thoughts, because we only have words for before and after, because we have a past tense and a future tense. We are locked inside a linear world. But what if you learned the circular language? What if you spent so much time looking at those intricate loop-like symbols that your brain began to rewire itself? What if, like upgrading the software of an old machine, your mind suddenly unlocked a dimension it always had the capacity to see, but never had the tools to perceive? You would begin to unmoor from the present moment. Your consciousness would drift. You would close your eyes, and suddenly you would remember something that hasn't happened yet. A flash of a face you haven't met. The sound of a voice you haven't heard. A quiet afternoon in a house you haven't lived in yet. And as this new reality settles over you, a profound and heavy realization would take hold. If you know the future, you cannot change it, because knowing it means it is already real. This is where the philosophical drift becomes deeply emotional. Imagine knowing the exact moment you will meet the love of your life. You can see the light in the room. You can hear the exact words they will say to make you smile. But at the exact same time, you can remember the moment you will lose them. You can feel the grief. You can see the empty room. You can hear the silence. Both moments, the bright spark of beginning and the heavy shadow of the end, exist inside you simultaneously. Would you still take the first step? If you knew a journey would end in pain, would you still begin it? For a mind that sees all of time, the answer is always yes. Because the end does not invalidate the beginning. The loss does not erase the joy. It is all just the shape of the life. You do not pull away from the pain, because the pain is part of the tapestry. You embrace the entire experience. You choose to love, even knowing the sorrow that is written in stone, because the love is also written in stone. This is the bittersweet peace of the heptapods, a life without the illusion of control, but filled with the deep, resonating beauty of acceptance. Think about a roller coaster. When we ride a roller coaster, we sit in the cart. We can only see the track a few feet ahead of us. We climb the steep hills slowly, feeling the anticipation building in our chests. We crest the top, and we plummet, feeling the sudden thrill, the fear, the surprise of the drop. We experience it blindly. Now imagine standing on the ground, far away, looking at the entire structure of the roller coaster against the sky. You see the whole track, the climbs, the loops, the drops, all at once. You know exactly where the cart is going. You know exactly how the ride ends. When the heptapods experience life, they are looking at the whole track, They are not surprised by the drops. They do not grip the safety bar in fear, but they still ride. They still experience the wind, the speed, the motion. They just do it with the quiet understanding of a traveler who already knows the destination. As you lie there in the dark, breathing in and breathing out, consider how freeing that might feel to let go of the desperate need to control tomorrow, to stop fighting against the current of time, to look at your life, your past, your present, your unknown future, and see it all as a single, beautiful block of existence. Every joy you have ever felt still exists. It is still happening, right now, in its own place in time. Every person you have ever loved is still with you, perfectly preserved in the geometry of the universe. Nothing is truly lost. Nothing is truly gone. It is simply located at a different coordinate on the map of time. The heptapods do not mourn the past, because the past is not behind them. They do not fear the future, because the future is not approaching. Perhaps they came from across the stars, not to conquer, not to take, but to offer a gift, the gift of perspective. A way of thinking that shatters the narrow hallway of linear time and opens up the vast, quiet landscape of eternity. To teach a language that is not just a tool for speaking, but a tool for seeing. To help a fragmented, anxious species learn how to view their own existence with peace. To know that the universe, in all its vastness and all its timeline, is already perfectly complete. And so, as the night deepens, as the quiet settles around your room, let go of the sequence, let go of the next moment. There is no next moment you need to worry about. There is only this soft, continuous present. To understand how the heptapods experience life, we have to gently dismantle the very foundation of how we experience our own. For us, time is a current. It is a river that carries us forward, relentlessly, endlessly. We are always moving. We are always traveling from one second to the next. We step out of the past, a place we can never return to. We stand in the sliver of the present moment, and we look ahead into the future, a dense fog where nothing is certain. Everything about human existence is built on this sequence. We walk by putting one foot in front of the other. We speak by placing one word after another. We hear a melody as a sequence of notes, one following the next. To create a song, we build meaning. Step by step, we experience reality. And because we can only see the step we are currently standing on, we live with a quiet, constant hum of uncertainty. We anticipate, we hope, we worry. We wonder what is waiting for us around the next bend in the river. But what if the river does not flow at all? What if time is not a direction you travel? What if time is a dimension you simply exist inside? Imagine, for a moment, stepping out of the river. Imagine rising above it, high above the landscape of your life. From up here, you do not see a current moving forward. You see the entire shape of the river, all at once. You see the quiet spring where it begins. You see the rushing rapids in the middle. You see the gentle, calm delta where it meets the sea. None of these parts are waiting to happen. None of them have faded away. They are all simply there, equally present, equally real. This is how the heptapods experience existence, perpenescent. They do not live from their birth toward their death. They do not experience time as a glowing ember, moving slowly along a long fuse. Their consciousness is the entire fuse, burning all at once. For them, past, present, and future are not separate rooms separated by locked doors. They are all one vast, open space. They perceive the entirety of their lifespan simultaneously. To understand this, is to rethink everything it means to be alive. If you perceive all of time at once, then the future is not a mystery to be solved. It is not a blank page waiting to be written. For a heptapod, the future is a memory. They remember what will happen tomorrow, the exact same way you remember what happened yesterday. There is no distance between an event that happened 10 years ago and an event that will happen 10 years from now. Both are vividly, perfectly clear. Both are simply facts of their existence. Think about how that changes the weight of a single moment. When a human experiences a sudden drop, a shock, a loss, or a sudden burst of joy, it hits us blindly. We are like passengers in the front car of a roller coaster. We can only see the track a few feet ahead of us. We feel the slow, agonizing climb of anticipation. We crest the hill, and we plummet. The thrill, the fear, the adrenaline, it all comes from the surprise of the drop. We do not know how steep the fall will be, or how fast we will go. We experience the ride blindly, but the heptapods are not in the car. They are standing far away, looking at the entire structure of the roller coaster against the open sky. They see the whole track, the climbs, the loops, the sudden drops, all at once. They know exactly where the cart is going. They know exactly how the ride ends. When they go through life, they are not surprised by the drops. They do not brace themselves against the safety bar in fear, but they still take the ride. They still feel the wind. They still feel the motion. They still experience the reality of the journey. They just do it with the quiet, absolute understanding of a traveler who already knows the destination. This brings us to a deep, quiet mystery, a philosophical paradox that arises when a mind can see the whole shape of time. If you already know the outcome, if every moment is already visible to you, do you still make choices? For humans, choice is born directly from the unknown. We stand at a crossroads. We look down one path, and it is obscured in shadow. We look down the other, and it is equally hidden. We weigh our options. We calculate the risks. We guess. We hope. We choose. Precisely because we do not know what will happen. Our freedom to decide requires the future to be unwritten. But if the future is already visible, if you already know exactly where both paths lead, and you already know which one you are destined to take, what does a decision feel like? Is it still a choice? Or is it something else? For the heptapods, action is not about deciding what might be best. It is about fulfilling what must be. They do not act to change the world. They act to complete it. Imagine knowing exactly how a conversation will go. You know every word the other person will say. You know the exact inflection of their voice, and you know every word you will reply. You do not try to alter the words. You do not try to steer the conversation in a new direction. You simply speak them. You play your part. You fulfill the obligation of the moment. Because you understand that this moment is already a permanent fixture in the architecture of time. It is not a feeling of being trapped. It is a feeling of deep, inevitable rightness, a sense of profound purpose. Like a musician playing a symphony, the musician knows every note of the song. They know exactly how the piece ends before they even play the first chord. But knowing the end does not ruin the music. They do not play the notes to find out what happens. They play the notes because the notes are beautiful. They play them to bring the song into reality. The heptapods are playing the symphony of their lives. They are not discovering the melody. They are performing it. There is a profound peace in this way of existing, a peace that human minds, constantly rushing, constantly planning, constantly worrying, struggle to even imagine. Consider the heavy burden of regret. We carry the past with us like stones in a woven bag. We look back at the crossroads and we torture ourselves with the thought of the other path. What if I had said something differently? What if I had turned left instead of right? What if I had been there? We believe that the timeline could have been different, but for a mind that sees all of time as a single, solid block, there are no what-ifs. There is only what is. There is no alternate path. The shape of time is already set, and so regret cannot exist. You cannot wish to change the past, any more than you can wish to change the color of the sky. You simply accept it. And consider the burden of anxiety. Anxiety is the shadow cast by the unknown future. It is the fear of what might happen, the fear of the drop. But if nothing is unknown, if every joy and every sorrow is already mapped out and visible to you, anxiety simply dissolves. There is no waiting for the other shoe to drop. There is no nervous anticipation. There is only a quiet, steady acceptance of the shape of reality. But this acceptance is not always easy, because seeing the whole of time means seeing the darkest parts of it right alongside the brightest. If time is a landscape, then the mountains of profound joy stand right next to the deep, dark valleys of grief, and you can see both of them at the exact same time. Imagine knowing the exact moment you will meet someone who will change your life. You can feel the spark of that beginning. You can see the light in the room. You can hear the exact words they will say to make you smile. It is a beautiful, perfect memory of the future, but at the exact same time, because you see all of it, you can also remember the moment you will lose them. You can feel the heavy, crushing weight of the grief. You can see the empty room. You can hear the finality of the silence. Both moments, the bright spark of connection and the heavy shadow of loss, exist inside you, simultaneously. They are happening at once. If you knew that a journey would end in unbearable pain, would you still begin it? If you knew the exact cost of the love, would you still step into it? For a mind that perceives time as a whole, the answer is not a struggle. The answer is simply yes, because the end does not invalidate the beginning. The loss does not erase the joy. The sorrow is not a failure of the timeline. It is just a different shade of thread in the tapestry. You do not pull away from the pain, because the pain is an essential part of the complete shape. To refuse the ending would be to refuse the beginning. To avoid the grief would be to erase the love, and so they embrace the entire experience. They choose to love, even knowing the sorrow that is written in stone, because the love is also written in stone. This is the bittersweet reality of their consciousness. A life without the illusion of control, but filled with the deep, resonating beauty of total acceptance. It is a state of grace, a willingness to walk into the fire, not because you hope you won't get burned, but because you know the warmth of the flame is worth the ashes. Their bodies reflect this timeless reality. If you look at a human, our physical form tells you exactly how we experience the universe. We have eyes on the front of our heads. We have a clear front and a clear back. We are built to move in one direction. We leave the space behind us, unseen. We look only at what is approaching. Our biology is a manifestation of linear time, but the heptapods, they do not look like us. They possess a perfect radial symmetry. 7 limbs, arranged in a circle around a central body. They have no front. They have no back. If you were to stand before one, you would not know if it was facing you or facing away, because to them, there is no forward direction to walk toward. There is no backward direction to retreat from. They can move in any direction, with equal ease. Their physical presence is a perfect mirror of their minds, just as they do not face the future and leave the past behind. Their bodies do not face a destination and leave an origin behind. They are centered. They are surrounded by all points in space, just as they are surrounded by all points in time. And they exist in a space that further softens the edges of reality. Inside their silent vessels, there is no clear air. There is a thick, buoyant fog, a dense atmosphere that blurs the lines of distance. In this fog, movement is not sharp, it is not rushed. They float as much as they walk, suspended in the mist, unhurried, unmoored from the ticking of any clock. There is no rush, because there is nowhere they need to be that they are not already. There is no deadline, because every moment is forever. What happens when a human mind, locked in its linear hallway, tries to comprehend this open landscape? There is an old theory, a quiet thought in the study of linguistics, that the language we speak forms the boundaries of our world, that our thoughts are shaped by the container of our words. We speak in a line, subject, verb, object, past tense, present tense, future tense, because our language is a sequence. Our thoughts are a sequence, because we only have words for before and after. We are trapped in the illusion of time passing. But what if you learned to understand a language that had no sequence? What if you immersed yourself in symbols that were not written step by step, but simply appeared, whole and complete? What if you spent so much time looking at these intricate, circular thoughts that the architecture of your own brain began to subtly shift, like a computer receiving a new piece of software, unlocking hardware that was always there, but never utilized? What if the human mind has always had the latent capacity to see time as a block, but simply lacked the right lens to focus the picture? If you learned to think like them, you would begin to drift unmoored from the present second. You would close your eyes to rest, and suddenly, you would remember something that has not happened yet. A flash of a room you have never stood in, the smell of rain on a street you haven't visited, the sound of a voice you haven't yet learned to love. You would experience these flashes, not as dreams, not as predictions, but as clear, vivid memories. Then as this new reality settled over you, you would feel the frantic rhythm of human life begin to slow down. The desperate need to control tomorrow would fade. The fear of making the wrong choice would evaporate, because you would realize there is no wrong choice. There is only the path that already exists. You would look at your life, the mistakes you thought you made, the triumphs you thought you earned, the heartbreaks you survived, and the unknown days still ahead of you, and you would see it all as a single beautiful shape. Every joy you have ever felt is still happening. It still exists, right now, in its own coordinate of time. Every person you have ever lost is not truly gone. They are perfectly preserved in the geometry of the universe, residing in the space they have always occupied. Nothing is lost. Nothing is waiting. Everything is simply here. Perhaps this is why they arrived. Not in a blinding flash of light, not with demands or threats or the loud noise of conquest, but quietly, suspending their vast vessels above the earth, waiting in the mist, offering a reflection, a mirror to a species that spends its entire existence running out of time, showing us that we do not need to run, that we can simply rest. As you lie here now, breathing in and breathing out, feel the quiet weight of that idea. Let go of the sequence. You do not need to think about the next minute. You do not need to plan for the morning. The morning already exists. It is waiting for you, quietly, in its own place. There is no future rushing toward you. There is no past fading away behind you. There is only this soft, continuous present. Let your mind float in it, like a silent vessel, suspended in the atmosphere, unmoving, unrushed. You are not traveling a line. You are resting in a complete shape, a perfect circle, with no beginning and no end. There is nowhere you need to go. There is nothing you need to become. You are already everything you will be. Just breathe and let the timeline fade. To understand the alien mind, we must first look at the invisible cage that surrounds our own. It is a cage so familiar, so intimately woven into our daily existence, that we do not even realize we are trapped inside it. That cage is language. When we think about language, we usually think of it merely as a tool, a bridge we build to carry an idea from one mind to another. We think of it as a vessel, but language is not just the vessel, it is the water. It is the current that dictates how the water flows. Language does not just describe the world we see, it dictates what we are capable of seeing. Think about how you are hearing these very words. You are hearing them in a sequence, one word, followed by the next. Subject, then verb, then object. It is a straight line, a narrow hallway of thought. When a human wants to express an idea, we must lay it out like bricks on a path. We start at the beginning, we move through the middle, and we finally arrive at the end. We build meaning, step by step. Our thoughts unfold in a line. We process our environment by looking at one piece of information, and then the next. We are sequential beings, but out there, suspended in the dense, buoyant fog of their silent vessels. The heptapods do not speak in lines. When they communicate, there is no sequence, there is no sound. There are no words spoken one after another. Instead, they write. But even the word write feels too small, too human, for what they actually do. Imagine a symbol, not a letter, not a word. A sprawling, intricate, inky web, a circular shape, suspended in the air. It has no clear starting point. It has no obvious ending. It is not built piece by piece. It simply appears whole. This is how their minds operate. When a heptapod creates one of these complex circles, they are not translating a sequence of thoughts into a sequence of symbols. A single logogram contains the meaning of an entire paragraph, an entire concept, an entire worldviewer, all encoded into one unified shape. To create this shape, to draw this circle, the creator must already know exactly how the thought will end. Before they even begin to form it, there is no hesitation. There is no searching for the right word. The thought exists fully formed, and then the symbol reflects that fully formed thought. Imagine what your mind would be like if you did not have to think in sentences, if you did not have to wait for the end of a thought to understand its meaning, if your consciousness was not a train moving along a track, but a vast, still lake, where every drop of water is understood at the exact same moment. This is the profound difference in their perception. Their language is not just a different way of speaking, it is a different way of being. It is a reflection of a mind that takes in the universe all at once. For humans, our linear language acts like a pair of blinders. It focuses our attention forward. It narrows our vision to the immediate sequence of events. It forces us to categorize the universe into neat, separate boxes. We have words that divide and isolate. We separate the cause from the effect. We separate the actor from the action. We even use our words to build invisible walls between each other. We use terms that create conflict, terms that define us by what we are not, rather than what we are. Our language forces our brains to constantly calculate, to constantly move, to constantly push forward, but the heptapods' language has no forward, it has no backward, just like their physical bodies, which possess perfect radial symmetry. With no front and no back, their language surrounds an idea from all sides. It does not walk toward a conclusion, it simply embodies it. What happens to a human mind when it tries to learn a language like this? Linguists have long whispered about a theory, a quiet, radical idea, that the structure of the language we speak physically influences the architecture of our thoughts, that we can only understand the concepts, that our language gives us the words to describe. If you do not have a word for a color, can you truly see it? If you do not have the grammar for a certain kind of peace, can you truly feel it? Our human brains are like receivers. Our eyes take in light, and our brains translate that light into the perception of sight. But we know there are vast areas of the light spectrum that we cannot perceive. Infrared, ultraviolet. The light is there. It is entering our eyes. It is filling the room around you right now. But our brains do not have the tools to translate it. We lack the biological vocabulary to see it, so it remains invisible. Lect. Subjective experience is the same way. Reality is a vast, infinitely complex spectrum, and our linear language only allows us to perceive a tiny sliver of it. It translates the raw data of the universe into a narrow band of perception. But learning the heptapod language, studying those complex, dark circles, tracing the intricate branches of ink that have no beginning and no end, it is like upgrading the software of the human mind. It is like suddenly growing the sensory organs required to see ultraviolet light. Proponent as a human immerses themselves in this simultaneous language. Their brain begins to rewire itself. The neurons, accustomed to firing in a straight line, one after another, begin to fire in a web. The rigid boundaries of sequential thought begin to soften. The blinders begin to fall away. You would stop thinking in terms of what happens next. You would stop narrating your own life in your head. The inner voice, the one that speaks in sentences, the one that constantly chatters and plans and analyzes, it would slowly go quiet, and in its place, a deep, profound silence would bloom. Patentless in that silence, thoughts would no longer feel like a journey. They would feel like a space you inhabit. When you looked at a tree, you would not just think the word tree. You would not just see the trunk, and then the branches, and then the leaves. You would perceive the entirety of its existence. The deep roots pulling water from the dark earth, the slow unfurling of the leaves in the sunlight, the eventual shedding of those leaves in the cold. You would hold the complete idea of the tree in your mind, all at once, just as the heptapods hold an entire paragraph in a single circle. This way of perceiving the world changes the very texture of consciousness. It removes the jagged edges of human thought. When we think in sequences, we are always waiting. We are always looking for the resolution. We listen to a song, waiting for the final chord. We read a book, waiting for the final chapter. Our minds are perpetually suspended in a state of not yet, pentrament, but for a mind shaped by a circular language. There is no not yet. Everything is already contained within the symbol. There is no anticipation, because there is no destination to reach. The meaning is not waiting at the end of the sentence. The meaning is everywhere, in every curve of the ink, all at once. Imagine how your daily life would feel. If your perception shifted in this way, you are lying in bed right now. Normally, your mind might be jumping from one thought to another, a memory from earlier today, a task you need to complete tomorrow, a random conversation from years ago. Your consciousness bounces along the timeline of your life, speaking to you in fragmented sentences. But if your mind were structured like the heptapods, you would not bounce, you would simply rest. You would perceive the warmth of the blankets, the rhythm of your breathing, the stillness of the room, not as a sequence of passing moments, but as a complete, unmoving shape, a perfect circle of experience. There is a profound stillness in this way of processing reality. A stillness that does not come from a lack of thought, but from the completion of thought. When a thought is fully formed, there is nothing left to calculate. There is nothing left to figure out. There is no more internal debate. You do not need to argue with yourself, because all perspectives are visible simultaneously. The need to analyze, the need to break things apart to understand them, simply dissolves. You take the world in, whole, tenenet. This is the gift of their language. It is not a tool for conquering. It is not a tool for trading. It is a tool for knowing. It is a mechanism for expanding the boundaries of the mind until they encompass the entire landscape of reality, a precedent. The human mind is capable of so much more than the straight line it was taught to walk. The capacity to perceive reality in all its depth, all its simultaneous complexity, is already inside us. It is just dormant, waiting for the right code, the right symbol, to unlock it. As you drift closer to sleep, let go of the words in your mind. Let go of the sentences. Do not try to finish your thoughts. Let them lose their shape. Imagine your consciousness not as a stream of words, but as a single, floating symbol, suspended in the calm mist, perfectly balanced, perfectly still. You do not need to explain anything to yourself right now. You do not need to narrate your drift into sleep. You can just exist in the silent, unmoving center of the circle. Let the boundaries of your perception soften. Let the rigid lines of human thought fade away and embrace the quiet, profound wholeness of just, whole, complete, and completely at rest. We return now to the quiet, to the vast, unmoving vessels, resting silently in the atmosphere. There is no rush here. There is no friction. Inside these immense structures, there is no hum of machinery. There are no harsh lights. There are no sharp corners. There is only the fog, a thick, dense, buoyant mist, a medium that exists somewhere perfectly between a gas and a liquid. In this space, movement is slow, soft, suspended, and in this space, the mind of the heptapod exists in a state of profound, unbreakable stillness. To understand this stillness, to truly feel it in your own mind tonight, we must look at the way they perceive the universe. We must look at the shape of their thoughts. And to do that, we must first become aware of the noise inside our own heads. As a human, your consciousness is a loud place. From the moment you wake up to the moment you finally drift off to sleep, your mind is filled with words. You possess an inner voice, a narrator that constantly describes the world around you. When you look at a room, you do not just see it. You name it. You name the walls. You name the shadows. You name the feeling of the blankets resting over you. You speak to yourself in sentences: subject, verb, object. Your thoughts are constructed out of language. And because human language is a sequence of sounds, your thoughts are a sequence of noises. Even when you are completely alone in the dead of night, In a perfectly silent room, your mind is chattering. It is explaining. It is analyzing. It is categorizing. Our language forces us to carve the universe into tiny, separate pieces. We use words to draw borders. We draw a border between the sky and the trees. We draw a border between the self and the outside world. We define things by what they are not. We create separation. And because our language is built on separation, our minds are constantly jumping from one piece of reality to another. We are always shifting focus. We are always moving. The human mind is like a restless bird, leaping from branch to branch to branch. It is exhausting, and it is why finding true stillness is so difficult for us. But the heptapods, they do not have an inner voice. They do not have a narrator, because their language is not built out of sound. It is not a vibration moving through the air. It does not require an exhale of breath. It does not require an eardrum to decode it. Their language is purely, completely visual. Imagine a mind that does not speak to itself. Imagine a consciousness that is entirely silent. When a heptapod perceives the world, it does not name the pieces. It does not look at its environment and break it down into nouns and verbs. It simply perceives. It takes in the entire shape of reality, all at once. They do not string words together on a line. They do not build a sentence brick by brick. Instead, they release ink into the fog. The ink forms a symbol, a massive, intricate, sprawling circle. It has no starting point. It has no ending point. The symbol does not unfold. It simply appears, whole, complete. Think about what it would feel like to think in these symbols. A human thought is an action. You have to actively think it. You have to push the words forward in your mind. But a heptapod's thought is an object. It is a shape that rests in the center of their consciousness. They do not listen to their thoughts. They view them. Imagine holding a thought in your mind, not as a sentence you are whispering to yourself, but as a perfectly silent piece of geometry, a beautiful, dark ring floating in a pale mist. You do not need to read it. You do not need to translate it. You simply look at it, and by looking at it, you understand its entire meaning instantly. There is no mental friction. There is no effort. There is only the calm, quiet observation of the symbol. This changes the very texture of perception. There is a quiet theory among those who study language. The idea that the words we use form the invisible boundaries of what we are capable of experiencing. If you do not have the vocabulary for a certain kind of perception, your brain simply filters it out. Our linear, fragmented language trains our brains to only see a fragmented world. We look out at reality through a narrow, jagged lens. But the language of the heptapods is a lens of absolute unity, because their symbols are circles, because every part of the ink connects to every other part. Their minds are trained to see the connections in all things. They do not see a universe made of isolated objects. They see a universe made of a single, continuous fabric. When they look at a landscape, they do not see the sky as separate from the earth. They do not see the light as separate from the shadow. Their minds do not draw lines. They perceive the whole system, the total environment, and because they perceive the whole, their minds never need to jump from one detail to another. The restless bird does not exist in their consciousness. Their attention is a vast, unmoving lake, reflecting everything, grasping at nothing. This is the source of their profound stillness. They are never trying to figure out how one piece fits with another, because they never broke the pieces apart in the first place. They rest in the totality of the present. Imagine how your physical body would feel if your mind operated this way. Right now, as you lie in the dark, your brain is likely still naming things. It is naming the feeling of the pillow. It is naming the temperature of the air. It is noticing a sound in the distance and applying a word to it. Your brain is working. It is translating the raw data of the universe into the narrow language of humanity. But what if you could put that language down? What if you could take the heavy, cumbersome tool of human words and just set it aside for the night? What if you could learn to perceive exactly as they do? Let us try. Slow your breathing. Take a deep, quiet breath in and a long, slow breath out. Focus your attention on the space inside your mind. Listen to the chatter. Listen to the narrator. Notice how it tries to describe what you are doing right now. And now, gently, ask it to be quiet. Do not replace the words with other words. Do not tell yourself to relax. Just stop speaking. Let the vowels and the consonants fall away. Let the sentences break apart. Let the fragments dissolve into the fog. When a physical sensation arises, do not name it. If you feel the weight of the blanket, do not think the word blanket. Just feel the weight. Let it be a raw, nameless perception. If you hear a sound in the room, do not try to identify it. Do not wrap it in a noun. Just let it be a sound. Let it wash over you and let it fade away. Without the borders of language, the boundaries between you and the room begin to soften. You are no longer a separate object lying in a bed. You are simply a point of awareness, suspended in the quiet. Imagine the fog from the alien vessels, slowly filling your room. A soft, pale mist. It is cool. It is calming. It is incredibly dense. As it rolls over you, it absorbs all sound. It dampens all vibration. It fills the space between your thoughts. You feel yourself becoming buoyant. The heavy pull of gravity seems to loosen. You are floating, weightless, in the silent white mist. There is no forward. There is no backward. Just like the radial symmetry of the heptapods, you are centered. You are surrounded by the stillness on all sides. In this state of wordless floating, you realize how much energy it took to maintain your human perception, how exhausting it was to constantly build sentences, how tiring it was to constantly divide the world into pieces, and how incredibly relieving it is to simply stop. You do not need to understand anything right now. There are no concepts to grasp. There are no ideas to assemble. There is only the fog, and there is only the symbol. Imagine it now, forming in the mist in front of you. A beautiful, intricate circle of dark ink. It hangs in the air, perfectly still. It does not spin. It does not shift. It is a complete thought. You do not need to read the symbol. You just let it radiate its meaning into you. It means unity. It means rest. It means the cessation of all mental effort. You look at the dark ink, and your mind synchronizes with its perfect geometry. Petulant, your consciousness becomes the circle, smooth, unbroken, continuous. There are no jagged edges left in your mind. There is no starting point to your awareness, and no ending point. If the language we speak shapes our reality, then tonight, your language is silence, and your reality is perfect rest. The inner voice is gone. The narrator has finally stepped away. The restless bird has folded its wings and gone to sleep. All that remains is the vast, unmoving lake, a mirror of pure perception. You are no longer generating thoughts. You are just a receiver, a silent vessel. suspended in the atmosphere, empty of words, full of presence. Feel the dense fog holding you up. Feel the absolute safety of this wordless space. Nothing can disturb you here, because nothing here has a name. Without names, there is no judgment. Without names, there is no fear. Without names, there is only the gentle, endless drift. As you sink deeper into the mist, the boundaries of your own identity begin to blur. You are no longer the one who thinks. You are simply the space where perception happens. The room around you fades. The physical world dissolves into the soft, grey light of the chamber. You are floating alongside them now, quiet presences in the deep fog, sharing a language that makes no sound, sharing a thought that has no edges. It is a beautiful, heavy tranquility, a state of grace that the human mind was always capable of reaching. It just needed to put down the burden of its own words. It just needed to be shown the shape of silence. Let the silence fill you completely, from the top of your mind, all the way down through your physical form. Let it saturate every nerve. Let it quiet every muscle. Let it bring your pulse to a slow, steady rhythm. There is nothing left to narrate. There is nothing left to explain. The universe is whole, and so are you. Rest in the center of the circle. Rest in the heart of the symbol. Let the ink hold you. Let the fog hide you. And let the deep, unbroken stillness carry you all the way down, away from the lines, away from the sequences, into the vast. Thank you for wandering through the quiet mysteries of the universe with Exosleep tonight. If this journey brought you peace, consider subscribing and letting us guide you into tomorrow's rest. Sleep well.